for joining us on board with Team Galati. I'm your host, Maria Galati Hill, and I have the incredible opportunity today to sit down with the legendary Mr. William Royster, the CEO, president, and the creator of Los Suenos Resort and Marina in Costa Rica. Mr. Royster, thank you so much for joining us today. Would you mind introducing yourself to our guests?
Thank you, Maria, for inviting us to be on the Galati online show. It's great for us to be able to showcase Los Sueños on your show.
Awesome. We are so happy to have you. For those of you who have had the incredible opportunity to travel to Los Sueños Resort in Costa Rica, know it's absolute perfection, the perfectly manicured landscape, the rolling mountains, the amazing architecture. I mean, it's truly a piece of paradise. If you were to ask any of my family members, my Uncle Carmine, my dad, even myself, what their favorite place in the world was, I know we'd all have the same answer, and that is Los Sueños Resort. And it's all due to you, Mr. Royster. I mean, you had a dream that you made sure became a reality, a vision for Los Sueños Resort. Can you please explain, where you had that, how you found it, and just the backstory behind it?
The backstory is pretty long, but I'll try to make it as short as possible. In 1991, I decided to take a sabbatical. I just purchased a new boat, an 80-foot boat that was built in San Pedro. And the economy was crashing in 91. That was way before you were born, probably. And the Gulf War was going, all these things were happening. And I said, I'm going to take off. I will do something stupid if I hang around here. And I sold my general engineering business in 1986, and I just finished an $80 million auto center. And I said, hey, let's get out of here. So got on the boat, planned a 6-month sabbatical, which ultimately turned into about 3 years, but headed all the way down the west coast of Mexico, fishing and, Magdalena Bay. And I'd been there numerous times before, but this time it was, real relaxed time because we didn't have a schedule. A big decision is what color shorts you put on in the morning. And so anyway, we just kept cruising down the coast and got into the Sea of Cortez, fished all there, and then we kept going south all the way on down to Acapulco. Excuse me. When we got to Acapulco, I didn't want to go back. And I had read about Costa Rica, and I said, it's only 1,100 miles away. Let's go to Costa Rica. And everybody said, sure, why not? There was nothing going on. I mean, in 91, it was not a good time. So we continued, we left Acapulco, and 5 days later, we wound up in Playa Coco, Costa Rica. And just kind of fell in love with the country, and we had to get fuel at a place called Flamingo. And there was really no facilities for this type of boat or any type of boat. It was very primitive in Costa Rica at that time. It took 3 days to fill the boat. A guy would take a 500-gallon tank into the gas station and bring it once a day, bring it back to us. So it took us 3 days to put 1,500 gallons on. So anyway, we kept going south and fishing all the way down and, releasing 20, 30 sailfish a day, catching marlin. And I hooked an 800-pound marlin, and I'd never seen a fish that big. So I was in like fish heaven. It was an amazing time of my life. And I was 46 years old, and I was, just really enjoying being on the ocean and fishing. And so we just kept going south after we caught this marlin, and we went into Bahia Herradura, which is the bay that Los Sueños is positioned on. I fell in love with it. I'm looking through my binoculars, I'm looking at the topography and how beautiful the property was when it was just a cattle ranch. And I met a guy in Flamingo who knew the owner. And so he contacted the owner, and basically we had him on the boat and started to make a deal. I wound up making a deal with the guy to buy the property. And when I did that, I had to do the entitlement. So, I'm a developer, so I knew that I needed to understand the country and a lot of other things. But the entitlement process is very similar as it is in the United States. It is in Spanish. I don't speak the language, but I was able to surround myself with people that could help translate what we needed to do. And my background with the general engineering business and development business, I had the skill sets to create Los Suenos. So from that point, we basically started all the entitlements, closed on the property, and it took from actually 90, I spent another 2 years cruising around South America and the Caribbean on this sabbatical after I purchased the property, because the country really wasn't ready for a resort that I had visioned. There's only 100,000 travelers to Costa Rica at that time. So it wasn't like it is today, which there's almost 4 million travelers to Costa Rica. And I knew that I wouldn't be the only one that would fall in love with Costa Rica, its beautiful people, the country, the magnificent coastline. And so anyway, that entitlement process took from 93 till 98. And we also passed the marina law. There was no way to build a marina in Costa Rica. So myself and my team basically legislated a law through this Congress in Costa Rica, and we're able to get that approved at the groundbreaking of our hotel in 1998. So that's a kind of a big brush on it, but today we use our tagline is beyond compare, or visions of man joined with nature, and we try to maintain that as we developed it over the years.
Wow. And going back to that, I mean, it passed with 100% of the congressional vote too. I was reading that story and I was just mind blown at all the work that you put in. I mean, the environmental studies, the feasibility studies, and the traveling that you did to perfect the marina, being built. That's incredible.
Well, thank you. And it's been a passion of mine for the last almost 30 years, really. And I wake up every morning here. I love living here. I love to look out and see what we've accomplished. I have a great team of people that have helped me develop this entire resort, and they run it every day. In fact, Ashley is our tournament director, and now she's also the director of the marina.
Ashley, thank you so much for joining us. Would you mind introducing yourself to our viewers?
Thank you so much for having me. My name is Ashley Bredisher, and I'm the Marina Director and Marketing and Communications Director for Los Suenos Resort Marina.
Wonderful. Can you tell me a little bit more about the incredible tournament program that you guys have over there in Los Suenos?
Yeah, we have been running the tournament since 2004. We started off with a series of 2 tournaments called the Los Suenos Signature Billfish Series. Then we moved on and we added the Los Suenos Marlin Invitational. And then for the last few years, we've been running, we melded the 2 tournament formats together to create one tournament called the Signature Triple Crown. And so the Signature Triple Crown is 3 tournaments that take place in January, February, and March each year. And we market them basically as the most exclusive and the most competitive billfish tournaments in the world. We have an average of about 40 to 42 teams that participate. Sometimes we've gotten to over 50 teams that participate in the tournaments.
That's incredible. I mean, people are fishing truly all over the world to come there and experience the best catch and release, the best fishing that they've ever experienced. I mean, it's truly incredible. And I know that Team Galati ourselves, I mean, we absolutely love fishing that tournament. It's a favorite every single year, and it starts that year off right. And I know this past year in 2020, we were fortunate enough to fish before everything happened. And Team Galati, I believe we won the second leg. So
we won a lot of times. A lot of times. I think Captain Tony has been on the podium more than any other captain that we have out here, other than maybe the former captain of the Big O, Ronnie Fields. Mm-hmm.
Well, we're actually about to have Tony on later. He's going to take us through the docks live. So that's incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Our viewers will probably be wondering, what does Los Sueños mean?
It means the dreams.
And that's incredible because you were a man who came here on vacation and it was your dream to start Los Sueños. And that's exactly what it is today, a dreamy destination for tourists all over the world to come and fish and relax and see the beautiful sights that you created. So, fast forward 20 years later, it's your 20-year anniversary, correct?
Yes, it's our 20-year anniversary. And we had a wonderful year going until this problem hit us all with this pandemic, but we will rebound and it will be wonderful next year, we know.
Exactly. We all will. And I know that many of our viewers are just ready to buy a ticket as soon as they can to come visit your amazing resort that, we love to call our favorite place in the world. So I have to ask you, it is called the Billfish Capital of the World, and the tournament that you host there, the Triple Crown tournament, has more catch and releases, I think, than anywhere on the planet. That is incredible. And you said that was one of the reasons that you decided to build Los Sueños. So can you tell us some of your favorite stories behind the reel?
One of the favorite stories, and I've told Ashley this, is we were at the Galleon restaurant, which was a restaurant that we put up, a big thatch roof restaurant. We've had to tear it down now because we got so old, and I was there with a bunch of guys coming in from fishing. Excuse me. And one guy's saying, we released over 50 fish. Another guy comes in, we released over 60. So I said, we have to have a tournament. In fact, your Uncle Carmine and Pat Healy were in that tournament. And they've been in every tournament since that time.
Absolutely. That's incredible. That's a favorite tournament to fish. I know I see Pat Healy and Uncle Carmine. That's the happiest I ever see them, is on the back of Team Galati fishing in Costa Rica. So that's incredible.
Yeah,
and
it is.
One of my favorite stories that I've heard is when Numero Uno and Team Galati were neck and neck on the dailies, and it was back and forth, one fish after the other, and your grandson caught the winning fish. And I thought that was such a cool story. Those are memories you can't make up.
Yeah, it was amazing for us because it's my two daughters, my grandson, and my love of my life, Sandra. So that's my team. So it's one old man and one young man and three chicks. That's what I call it.
That's the dream team right there. You just catch and release and enjoy in family time. It doesn't get any better than that. That's amazing.
For us to compete with these guys, it's amazing. And this is the best teams in the world. And that's why everybody loves our tournaments. And you never know. It's kind of like a NASCAR race. Like when we were fishing against, when we were ahead all day long. The numero uno was ahead all day long. And then Galati caught us. And then it was just, oh man. And it was just like, neck and neck, just like a NASCAR race. And every one of our tournaments is like that. No one seems to run away. It has been a few times, but very seldom do they run away because all of a sudden somebody will catch a marlin. So.
And I know that just a few weeks ago, you were at the helm of a brand new Valhalla Boatworks V37. How was that?
Maria, that's amazing what Pat Healy and his sons have designed and built. I was blown away when I drove the boat. I could not believe it. The performance of it, the handling of it is just beyond compare. It was just, we're doing 50 knots and burning 1 gallon per nautical mile. It's just, just wonderful. We had a wonderful time. It was myself, Sandra, and good friend Jimmy Kitzel.
That's amazing. Those boats, the design that they've implemented in them from the Viking line is just incomparable. So that's amazing. And for our viewers that are interested in the V37, you can click the link below to learn more about the V37 model that's on the docks at Los Sueños Resort.
Before the pandemic hit, we were all set up to fish the Valhalla with my grandson and one of the Heelys and one of the Galatis. They were going to be the team on the Valhalla. And
Well, that still
we call
happens.
it Valhalla Uno. We call it Valhalla Uno because it's the first one.
Well, isn't that perfect? I love it. So, Team Galati is so excited to partner up with you and your team there at Los Suenos to do a VIP experience for guests where they can explore and enjoy the beauty that is Los Suenos Resort, for sport fishing enthusiasts looking to get out on the water. And we are so excited to propose that to our special guests. So if you're looking to learn more about that, you can call the number below and they will be happy to give you more information. Do you have anything to add on that program, Mr. Royster?
Well, when Carmine was down on our second leg of our tournament in February, he came early and we spent a lot of time together of how we could really promote together Los Suenos, Galati, Viking, and all the other boats that you, of course, sell. So we came up with this idea that we would fly VIPs down here, put them in one of our new condominiums, which is Montecielo, beautiful ocean view condominium, and then fish them for a couple of days. And there's really no pressure here. Los Suenos sells itself, especially when you go out fishing and the calm seas and wonderful fishery.
Absolutely. We are excited to offer that up for our special guests. And, I'm sure we've given our viewers quite the tease talking about everything that is the heavenly place of Los Suenos Resort and the incredible fishing that's there. So can you give us a little bit of information about the restrictions, when they'll lift, and when guests can come travel and visit?
It was really planned to open up the country July 1 or June 30th. And now we've heard that the restrictions might be clear into mid-July. So we're not really sure at this time. Costa Rica has done a wonderful job of managing this pandemic. It really doesn't have the infrastructure to handle anything like this. And fortunately, only 12 people have died in Costa Rica from this terrible disease. So, where they've shut us down, and when we say we're shut down, I mean, if you're going to have to be restricted to space, this is a wonderful place in the world to be restricted. So the boats are going out every day and they're catching fish and enjoying their boats, and they're going to open up the beaches soon and a few other things. So hopefully we'll see something mid-July that we can bring. A lot of the captains want to come back and a lot of the owners want to come back. My
family will be first to fly there as soon as we can.
We're still 100% occupied.
Wow.
The marina. And what a lot of people don't realize is 95% of our marina is homeowners.
Wow.
That have a home here.
Homeowners.
Yeah, so very sustainable.
I mean, that's the life, to live there in paradise. That's incredible.
Well, we love it.
Well, Mr. Royster, thank you so much for joining us today. We are so happy to have you. It's been a pleasure talking with you, and I hope the next time I get to see you, it'll be there in paradise.
That's wonderful, Maria. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much.
As many of our viewers may know, we have an office that's located in the heart of Los Suenos Marina, and we will be joined by Captain and Broker Tony Carrizosa, live from the docks in Costa Rica. Tony, thank you for joining us. How's it going over there in Costa Rica? Overcast or not, it's still paradise. Thank you so much, Tony. We're excited to see what's on the docks. Awesome, two gorgeous yachts ready to go fishing. Tony, tell me, how has the fishing been over there? You know, a question that we get asked a lot, Tony, is how the yachts get transported from Costa Rica to the US. Can you explain a little bit more that process? Tony, thank you so much for joining us. You know, seeing you live on the docks, it's the next best thing to being there in paradise. So I hope to see you in person there. Thank you. Thank you all for tuning in to the second episode of Onboard with Team Galati. We go live on the last Wednesday of every month. Tune in for our next episode on July 29th at 7 p.m., where we will sit down with CEO and President Mr. Pat Healy of Viking Yachts. Once again, I am your host, Maria Galati Hill, and thank you so much for joining us.